Are you concerned about anyone in your life that you love
No,
being involved?
there's nothing there. Yet it's created weeks and weeks and months of headlines. So no, I have zero concern.
That was first daughter and presidential advisor Ivanka Trump saying that she's not concerned that anyone in her family could be in any legal jeopardy as a result of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. Let's discuss. Do you buy it that she's not concerned at all?
This looks PR. I mean, I don't know what legal basis she would say. I don't know how much Ivanka Trump herself has been subject to questioning or interviews or testimony. It seems like others in the Trump family and Trump campaign have had to testify before Congress. We know that Congress alone has referred different individuals to the special counsel's office for potential lying to Congress, and obstruction. So there is legal jeopardy for individuals who are in the family who were involved in the campaign. Does it make sense from a PR perspective for her to say she's not concerned at all? Perhaps, but from a legal perspective, it's hard to say with all of the ongoing investigations of matters related to the campaign and the family's close involvement in the campaign that there's not any exposure, not to mention the foundation of which she was a board member that's the subject of New York State scrutiny.
Right. Well, that's a different matter. I think they were just asking about Mueller, not the 30,000 other investigations going on into the other entities. Sungmin, take a listen to Ivanka Trump talking about the plans for a Trump Tower Moscow project.
We were an operating business. We looked at deals from across the world.
Did it ever cross your mind where you thought, if my dad wins this election, this might look bad, doing business with Moscow?
It's not like it's a strange thing as a hospitality company or a development company to have a hotel or a property in Russia. We're not talking about Iran. It was Russia.
Very interesting, because we know how the plans for Trump Tower Moscow has been such a major part of these investigations into the Trump entities. I mean, that's the basis of how Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to lying to Congress. So I do think, I mean, her explanation that this is part of many conversations that I believe in the interview, she said there were 30, 40 or so conversations going on and kind of downplaying in that way. But there's no doubt that the discussions around this particular project and when it stopped, how far did it go into the campaign, really has been a central legal question that we are still kind of waiting for the final answer to.
Yeah, because, Mary Catherine, one of the issues here is whether or not the Trump campaign was influenced not necessarily by conspiracy or collusion, but just his platform and everything he said and did was just to find favor with Putin, because if he lost, he was going to try to develop this huge project.
My thought from the beginning is that when you get down to the bottom of whatever Mueller gets down to the bottom of, it's likely a business deal that is at the root of it, not some global conspiracy that the Trump campaign was very cleverly
wielding. Greed, not treason.
Right. So that's been my thought. Now, your mileage may vary about how much you believe the Trump organization or Ivanka about, we had a lot of things going on. These were very basic talks. It wasn't a big deal. It looks like she sent some emails about it pertaining to an architect for this plan. And the bottom line is, pre-election and post-election, there's not a line in the Trump family between business and the jobs that they are doing now. They've never formed one between family and business or between this new endeavor and business. And that is an ethical problem, just bottom line. And so it's going to get them into issues like this.
And what do you make of the differentiation that Ivanka Trump made there between doing business in Russia, which makes sense in her view, as opposed to Iran?
I often wonder what Ivanka Trump does. And it seems as though her job title is senior advisor to the president. If she had a political bone in her body, she would know that perhaps this Russia thing is not something we should be engaged in, given the narrative that is around our campaign at the time, or given the narrative that is out there about Putin. But because Ivanka Trump does not have a political bone in her body, I don't doubt her business chops. I'm sure she's very smart, but she is not political. And so she is operating in a capacity that she's out of her depth in my opinion. And so she just underscored that I think she's out of her depth in this interview.
And Sungmin, she also talked about the issue of leaks coming from inside the West Wing to the newspapers and TV.
A lot of them are staying in the White House with a mission. to tear you down.
Yeah, no, I can't explain that. I agree with you.
Why is it still a problem after 2 years?
Well, I, on a personal level, have been the subject of many leaks that I know not to be true. So I tend not to pay too much attention to leaks and anonymous sourcing.
Do you have any idea who the leaker or leakers?
Some of them, yeah.
Why are they still there?
Some of them are not here.
Quickly, if you would. I mean, again, the intrigue and the instability and the chaos of the White House continues, and she's continuing to verify that it's there.
And I would point out, I mean, there are a lot of books that have come out about the administration that has kind of confirmed in retrospect a lot of the chaotic reporting within the White House in the real time. But the leaks thing will continue to be a fascinating storyline. I mean, looking at the leak of the president's private schedules last week, and a leak that was meant to directly hurt the principal, not necessarily undermine other staffers, but the president himself. And that will be continuing for